and welcome to Assembly Calendar. I'm Mike Friesen. With us for our program today is Assemblyman Tom Alfano. Tom Alfano represents the 21st Assembly District in New York State, an Assembly District that includes parts of Nassau County. And we want to thank you folks all across Long Island for tuning in for our program today. Today, again, focusing on the Elmont community. And Tom Alfano, thanks for being here.
Thank you, Mike.
We have got a lot to catch up on. Why? Because it's the beginning of a new legislative session here at the state capitol. 2008, new calendar year. Happy New Year to you, sir.
You too.
Let's get started with the fact that this new session has begun. The governor has started it off with his State of the State address, and interestingly, and I suppose it got to be gratefully for the people of Long Island, the governor has included a section in that speech, a fairly sizable section, on trying to do something about the property tax issue for New Yorkers.
Without question, Mike, the people I serve pay among the highest property taxes in the state of New York. I mean, it is a real problem. I mean, we have working people who work 2 to 3 jobs to be able to afford to live in the 21st Assembly District, and we just have to do something to contain the yearly increase in property taxes. So it's good that the governor is paying attention. You know, we've certainly raised our voices. He knows it's a big issue in the suburbs, including Nassau County, and hopefully we'll be able to do something real, some significant tax relief to our pressed citizens.
It's something that certainly has been getting talked about in recent years, but the governor is now talking about putting a commission in place headed up by Tom Suozzi, somebody that you know pretty well. And again, I think the people of Long Island have got to look at that choice and go, well, this looks like some pretty serious discussion that's going to happen.
Yeah, I agree. I laud the governor for making Tom Suozzi the county executive in Nassau the commission head. I mean, Tom is he's dedicated to tax relief for the people in Long Island. That's been one of his major issues, and it's a complex situation. It's not easy. You know, the solutions may be, a lot of people may not like the solutions that the commission comes up with, but I, for one, am going to be very anxiously awaiting their findings, and we have to do something, though. The failure to act is not an option.
There's been so much state aid that has been going into the school districts, but the property taxes from the school districts keep going up. So hopefully this commission is going to come up with something of a usable nature that the legislature can get its hands around.
The other county executive in Suffolk had a decent idea that I supported. We put it in a bill form last year. Steve Levy, former assemblyman, he said consolidate some of the vendor requests that the districts have, printing requests, other things that are easily, put together and pooled so as to save money. The economies of scale are a relatively simple concept, right? If you bundle things throughout a community, even throughout a county, you're going to save money, right? There shouldn't be 12 vendors or 24 vendors in Nassau County to do the printing. Maybe we do a county-wide printing for the schools. Maybe we do county-wide some services, because that's how you save money.
Insurance, maybe, things like that.
Insurance, exactly. I mean, it's like the Walmart exercise.
Well, it sounds as if at least people are starting to think and trying to, as I said, get their hands around this topic. As you said, a very difficult topic, though. It would be, really turning a major part of the state's economy on its ear to try to figure out new ways of funding for something so important as education.
Right.
One of the hallmarks, certainly, of the programs that we do when we focus on the Elmont community is education. We'll be going and making our usual trips into the school buildings and into the school district as a part of this program. But we start off today with quite an event that was held recently down at Elmont Memorial High School. This is of a different nature, though, not so much dealing with the kids, but health issues. It was a roundtable discussion that was had there, including a very special guest, Ann Thompson of NBC News, who was brave enough to share her story as a cancer survivor. Why don't we take a little bit of a look and a listen to some of what was said at this event, and then we will talk more about it with Assemblyman Tom Alfano.
The news, as it always has through my life, guided me. And on the days that Elizabeth Edwards, who is the wife of John Edwards, who is running for president, and former White House Press Secretary Tony Snow announced that their cancers had returned, I suddenly changed my mind about talking about my cancer. Because I sat there in Brian Williams' assistant we went through breast cancer together. And Melissa and I are sitting in her office and we're watching our colleagues on TV essentially dig graves for Elizabeth Edwards and Tony Snow. And it just made me furious. I have never met Mrs. Edwards, and I have never met Mr. Snow. I don't know them at all, other than just their public personas. But I did know that they had cancer. And I knew that as someone who had cancer, I wanted to live. Because what people don't understand, who don't have cancer, that cancer isn't about dying. It's about living.
That is quite an inspirational message, and what an interesting insight from somebody that's in the news business and the way those things are perceived and played out to the people there. We're looking at some of the shots now of some of the other events that took place at that health roundtable, which you were the sponsor of, Tom Alfano.
That's right, proudly so. Ann Thompson did do a magnificent job sharing her odyssey through cancer treatment and being a professional and a working professional. Also, you can see here, this was part of the roundtable, which was hosted by Elsie Guibier and EMG Healthcare. It concerned minority women's health. There were doctors, healthcare professionals, cancer survivors, talked about treatment and healthcare disparities. The discussion centered around getting the word out that there's mammogram and to have mammograms and to promote healthy lifestyles. Also, the discussion was involving healthcare coverage issue and support groups, not only for the cancer victim, but also for their families. It was very well attended and a wonderful educational experience.
You know, that kind of news, getting that out there to the people in the community about getting checked for mammograms or for men, prostate checks on an annual basis, those things are becoming so important, and it seems like such a positive thing that people are having such good results once they start those regular checks.
That's right. Early detection is certainly the best way to defeat a dreaded disease.
The inspirational message from Ann Thompson there, to go back to that for just a little bit, I thought that was so stunning that when she talks about when Edward's wife and Tony Snow, they both reveal that they are dealing with cancer issues. And the media here in the United States really didn't seem to know. They weren't comfortable dealing with those subjects. So for her to come out and say, you know, it's no different than anything else. We all have this somewhere in our families. I can't think of anyone who doesn't have a family member that is somehow touched by cancer. We've got to be responsible.
And there's no doubt about it. And what Ann said is quite relevant. I think you're living with cancer. I mean, it's not a death sentence usually, God willing. It's something that you get treated for and continue with your life. But early detection is the key to survivability, and I'm very active in a local charity in Long Island that gives money to ovarian cancer research and hospice care.
Let's take a look at some other footage now. This is kind of good news for the community, the startup of a new enterprise, a new business here in your area. Tell us what we're looking at.
Yeah, there's a health fair that we're going to have soon, and this is a new business, a physical therapy business started by one of my women of distinction. Her name is Dr. Emma Gowali, and she's a wonderful woman, an entrepreneur. She's one of many doctors and healthcare groups that will be featured in my first annual Health and Wellness Fair, which is on Saturday, February 2nd, coming up at Elmont Memorial High School from 10:30 to 3:30. We'll have doctors, dentists, specialty healthcare professionals will be on site. There will be over 80 different groups and demonstrations and free giveaways. There'll be free mammograms, dental screenings, massage therapy, glaucoma screenings, blood pressure checks, free flu shots, and even a shape-up haircuts for the kids. Isn't that something?
That sounds great. You know, again, and I've heard these stories all the time. People go to these health fairs and just get some of these very basic screenings and end up finding out that maybe something's just not right, and it leads you and puts you off to maybe finding out a little bit more about what's going on.